Well, hello everybody. Sunday afternoon. I know I'm an hour early, but I tell you, it's kind of funny. My friend Brian Jean in Alberta has a car wash in Fort Mac, and over the years he freezes up in this inclement weather. It's a lot to run a car wash. Lines burst, drain lines plug, freeze up, all of it. It can be excruciating at times. That's what I find in Hamilton. I went for a car wash, waste an hour of my day for nothing as I went to two different locations, same problems, then big lineups at the third. Time to go to work with my salt-covered truck. It sucks. Them's the breaks. That's Canada. Used to it. You gotta get used to it. I do miss Alberta and my beautiful Hughes car wash. For guys with big trucks, I love it. I miss it. It's very sad. You don't find that in Ontario. So that sucks. I'm always scrounging, and of course there's the time. But regardless, I'm going to give you all this live. I do too have friends that are at the Ottawa convoy, loyal to my party, there to go through it, to see it, to experience it. A lot of founding members of my party are disappointed I didn't go, feel I should have been on my own soapbox explaining things to people. But ladies and gentlemen, and loyal friends and followers, and those loyal in the party who are you, I have more than enough signatures. Almost lost you guys. I was worried there. Worried I got shot. Ching. I got OPP to the left, just up ahead in front of me, who passed Halton police, all kinds of municipal behind me. I don't know what's going on in Greater Toronto area today, but I got the full meal deal of police around me. So that, for people thinking that me talking on the phone, that's dead center. You're literally dead center in my plane of view of the road. I mean, I'm off here looking full range, and here's you right here, literally right there. Can't even tell what I'm doing. I could be yelling to the person in the back seat if they can see through the windows, but there is no person in the back seat. So those who think distracted driving, it's not. I'm set up this truck 2008, incorporated with it. In fact, there's a slot for a laptop or any mobile device I can plug in. I won my case in Alberta, by the way. Just to get off topic, I won my case. My case was thrown out for the cop who tried to nail me for a ticket for using a device while driving. It got thrown out. Pleasure of the old Ford Midnight Martha, I name her. This is manufactured that way. It was sold to me, made legal in Canada. Regardless of what laws changed, I'm grandfathered. As long as this truck lives, I can pursue this as much as I want. Sorry people, you don't like it. That's the way it goes. I mean, it's got a lot of miles on it. She's tired. I keep her alive as long as I can, and I'll continue with her just as long as I can. But it does give me that time of the day to do these things. So back to the video, do's and don'ts. And I have to make this statement now that I got people logged on. I have to make this statement for Paul Hinman. I'm sorry I tagged you personally, and you're on my friends list anyway, but honestly, when you look at WIPA, there are just so many pages. Which one's the official, which one's not, I don't know. It's problematic, but to save pain and suffering and to tag the wrong group, it may or may not be the legal WIPA, I don't know, and I'm not going to sift through all the pages to find out which one is or isn't, or call the office. I'm not going to do that. So I tagged you as leader of WIPA. It's nothing personal, and everybody, before I go forward, Paul Hinman did not endorse any of this. I am not saying Paul Hinman is responsible for the convoy in Ottawa and what's going on there today. It's just that he's the leader of WIPA. I'm going to say Wild Rose Independence Party of Alberta, Maverick Party, registered there in Alberta, and of course the People's Party of Canada is fundamental in the anti-vax movement. This convoy to Ottawa, it all starts with an overlap of all the original people out of all three of those parties. And I can clearly state that I know where they come from because I know all those people personally. And I'm just doing this so everybody knows Paul Hinman is not an organizer or directly involved, but he is of the party, which a lot of the organizers do have roots in. Same with Maxime Bernier's People's Party of Canada. Same with Maverick Party, Jay Hill's party. And just to save pain and suffering, I'm not going to tag anybody officially in that organization. I'm just going to make these statements, do's and don'ts, as somebody who actually shut down a province, many refineries, involved in that in 2007. A real strike, ruled illegal. What happens when you protest and strike? Strike is not a protest. Strike is a blow, as defined in many dictionaries. You can go overlap many dictionaries, and the legal right to strike versus what's called a wildcat strike. I did a wildcat strike in the province of Alberta in 2007. I brought the Conservative Party to its knees, along with thousands of other Albertans. We did a wildcat strike. And as the definition goes, a strike can be labeled violence to a certain degree as you take over the rights and freedoms of others, meaning you restrict access to property, you block it, you take big convoy trucks, you block highways, you block entrances, you get the drivers to take the keys out of the vehicle, you jump out of the cab and you walk away, leaving that massive property blocking access and entrance. Right or wrong, that's what's been done in the Supreme Court of Canada. The superior courts of many provinces go back in precedent law to show you exactly what we did and what was done long before us. It's what's being utilized by the convoy now. But I'm going to give you the strength of the left, because I know a lot of people from the left are in the anti-vax movement, in the convoy, and I can tell you from friends of mine on the ground, boots on the ground, surveilling, sending me all the images from all this weekend, and I spent hours today poring over it. And I'm going to tell you all don'ts. Do not go to war memorials. That particular war memorial, bad move. And likely, I'm going to say this likely to all the organizers, you take it as you want, it is likely a plant, a bullshit, not part of your movement, or it's an anarchist who doesn't believe in anything you believe in, but believes in absolutely sticking it to the man. Whether or not they believe or they have any righteous intention, their intention is to attack the government and incite violence. You will find this anarchist, left or right, they don't care. They're just anti-establishment, anti-government, and will do and say and go with any means necessary to see things happen. Don't allow people to sacrifice war memorials. They're in Ottawa. I know which one you went to. It is heavy in the crown, heavy in World War I, which is not the world today, but there are portions of that war memorial that overlap World War II, which is a part of the Allies, which is a massive no-no. You want to get your pee-pee slapped, not only internationally, but domestically too, and there's literally nothing any protest can do to stop that narrative once it comes forward. Don't let people sacrifice war memorials, especially World War II. And likely they aren't even anti-vax. I don't agree with anti-vax. I don't agree with the pro-choice narrative and absolute medical freedom without any responsibility and accountability. I don't agree with that. I believe it takes a much broader talk and speak and real policy definition, and that takes a real political party to bring that forward in constitutionalism. Constitutionalism that doesn't exist in Maverick, People's Party of Canada, or Paul Hinman's Wild Rose Independence Party. That's it. That's the truth on that. Don't do war memorials. Don't let anarchists or liberals planted get away with that. Stop them. Get the masses moved. Have that stuff removed. Don't do it. Another big no-no, which to me, it's got to be some kind of idiot that would go after the Terry Fox Memorial in Ottawa. I was there too earlier this year. You can see all my pictures. You can see all my videos with one Ian Bjorkman. You don't go to cancer memorials and put anti-vax propaganda, medical freedom, freedom of choice, because I'll tell you, no cancer patient supports any of that. Anyone who's never been through cancer, you take a whole bunch of shots, you go through all kinds of isolation and restrictions and stages of cancer, or you're at the place of Terry Fox. Long after he lost his leg, he went there too. He died in hospital anyway, it went too far. But for those in stage 3, 4, and beyond, they absolutely do not support anti-vax or any of the medical freedoms of choice, because at that stage of cancer, you're already isolated, restricted. You take all the shots you can, all the immune boosts you can, because you've got a baby's immune system, meaning you are zero in immunity, you are completely immune compromised, and so much as a cold can kill those people in that stage of cancer. Anyone who's gone through it knows this for a fact. No true advocate in cancer or supposed freedoms would ever advocate placing that stuff on Terry Fox. This, absolutely, these two things only strengthen Trudeau. Don'ts, all of them are don'ts. What are do's? What are do's that even you all in this convoy can get away with absolute impunity? What you can do right now in Ottawa, you can go with decolonization for one. There is a massive statue. You want to win hearts and minds of Canadians from all walks. You want to get away with doing desecration. Go with decolonization. Now, it too is represented in the criminal code. But there is Queen Victoria high upon Parliament Hill, high upon it. You can all go there and you can decorate that massive over all of Parliament Hill, Queen Victoria reigning supreme. You can cover her in all kinds of rhetoric and decoration. Go ahead, desecrate her all day long, because it is represented as decolonization. The government has already got you desecrating World War II, World War sites, which is bad, real bad. To offset that, get rid of all that, get rid of it, get rid of Terry Fox, and go hit the memorials that are of absolute colonization. Go for decolonization. The police say it's a crime, but they're likely unable to follow suit with it, because to follow suit with that would be a betrayal of everything the Allies of World War II stand for, and it brings forward the International Criminal Court and all the laws that Canada signed on but absolutely abolishes by ending the ICJ, the International Court of Justice. The real one. You'll find Canada did this in 1993. You'll find they started the process in 85. Brian Mulroney, Jean Chrétien, criminals in the world today, and unable to enact Brian Mulroney's criminal code changes, making decolonization illegal. Guess what? It's very much decolonization is called for in international law, binding international law. You will not find the USA, Russia, or any of the allies coming forward to defend Canada. And should they arrest you, should they go after you, you have a real international case. Not a bullshit fake one. None of this crap that's been brought forward, lunatics. I mean a real case. A real defendable case. Can you get a Canadian lawyer to back you up? No. But there are international lawyers that are willing to take you forward. Should you pursue decolonization, get charged by the Canadian government, and I promise you, police and Canadian government alike will not be able to stop you and are unlikely to do anything. They're likely to turn a blind eye. This from Justin Trudeau, Aaron O'Toole, Jagmeet Singh, entirely the Parliament of Canada. All legislatures, most legislatures don't even propagate colonization. Quebec still does, but you can get away with it there too. They're likely to turn, close their eyes. Lieutenant governors of every province are going to go, and the governor generals are going to go, don't do it, don't do it. We're going to get in big trouble. We can't have the Crown in big trouble. Don't charge them under the criminal code. That is bad, bad, bad. That puts them on the world stage. It gives them access to courts that we've thrown Canadian citizens out of. We've removed the ability for Canadian citizens. Don't highlight it. Don't pursue it. This is one of those boo-boos. Don't let them do it. That is a do. That is something you can do. The police are likely to be forced to turn a blind eye. And should they charge you, it will be dropped in the long run. They won't pursue it. You don't even need a lawyer. Even under criminality, you don't really even need a lawyer. Because the second you do that, it's going to go up the chain and go, ooh, this is a bad one. Just like statue toppling. You topple the right statues, and the government's powerless to do anything about it. That's reality, folks. That's truth. Now, going further, John Carpe released today in the Western Standard, going back to what I talk about, the absolute removal of lawful protests in Alberta, done in June 2020. I've gone through all of these acts. It's on my YouTube in their entirety. I'm sorry, folks, but when the Crown Premier, with full power of Lieutenant Governor to pass said bill, because one Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, with his Governor General, decide that that's great, remove those rights and freedoms to protest in the province of Alberta, usurping the Supreme and Superior Courts over Alberta. It needs a challenge to not only the Supreme Court, but also the Superior Court in Alberta. There's tons of precedent law. No judge should be able to overturn it. But we're King's Court in Canada. John Carpe realizes with the bill, goes through it in the Western Standard. It requires violence, not polite protests. It requires strike that comes from unions of the past. It requires wildcat strike, which ultimately in terms means violence, Canadians. You only win your rights and freedoms when you go through violence. Now, the law can say, arrest that man. He's inciting violence. I'm only teaching you the history of Canada as it really is. Nobody wins nothing from peaceful protest in Canada. Those civil rights won in USA are under an entirely different constitutional legal system. They're a republic. We're a constitutional monarchy. They have independent judiciary. We here in Canada have King's Court. The only way to beat King's Court, beat the Crown, is through absolute violence. That is the history of Canada in its entirety. I'm sorry. I'm sorry people have told you some other farce. But nobody wins nothing unless the Crown says you win. And like I posted, it's a royal flush for all elected politicians and all those sworn to the Crown. Call it double sixes on a dice. Call it always turning up a royal flush in poker. That is the crown. That is the courts here in Canada, King's Court. Royal flush. Politician man picks up the phone. Prime Minister has override on Governor General. Governor General appoints all the Lieutenant Governors who are sworn to Governor General. Governor General acts on the advice of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister can fire said Governor General within 30 days. Look what happened to our Canadian NASA last Governor General. Were they ultimately in charge? Were they ultimately the Crown? Or did Justin Trudeau fire said Crown? Because Justin Trudeau is ultimately the Crown. That's how it works, folks. You have an illusion of democracy. Now I know everybody, that's John Carpe, who I'm not stating is involved in any of the convoy, but he brought up absolutely what happened in 2020 with the bill enacted over the loss, absolutely, of all your rights to protest. I know, I'm a union guy. Go look at my YouTube video, The Billionaire Bitch, Cesco, Edmonton, Alberta. My union decided in their wisdom that who cares about my knowledge of the Supreme Court and the Superior Court? Who cares? Beat it, buddy. We don't want you doing that here. Okay, I left. I didn't want to get kicked out of my union. I left the protest. My videos live forever for all of you. Precedent law in Canada lives forever for all of you. It takes a lawyer to challenge it, but what will King's Court do ultimately? So far, Jason Kenney unchallenged, even though he's 100% unconstitutional, and we're likely to see NDP win in the next provincial election in Alberta. Will they change anything? No, I don't think so. I think like John Horgan's NDP, you will see the Wet'suwet'en murdered, abused, and absolutely put under military thumb. You don't get your land, you don't get your sovereignty, you don't get nothing. They will take it from you. All the unceded land. Because John Horgan wears the crown proud. He's a liar. And I'm sorry for all the First Peoples who wear the orange. I'm sorry for all protesters who think that they can do anything outside of absolute violence. Because that, in large numbers, until Canadians and First Peoples group together and go in large numbers and go in absolute violence, you won't get anything. I don't want to do violence. I see that it doesn't work, and I know that I can't organize enough people to do it. Not since 2007. The government has only gotten much, much stronger. That was the last win seen in any wildcat strike done in Canadian history. I was involved in it. I led it. And to this day, I hold punishments, lifetime punishments, that I can only get away from by going to the United States of America, where I can get a reset, where I can actually achieve success and be viable, have full access. Because Canadians, I don't have access to the human rights provided in the Declaration of Human Rights. What I mean by that is I'm not allowed to work in many industries in my skill set. I am banned absolutely and eternally in the country called Canada. I've held that as a weight around my neck and a ball of chains dragging behind my feet like Harrison Bergeron. Is it legal? No. Is it a violation of human rights? Absolutely. But who do I go to? Do I go to the Commission of Jurists, the ICJ of Canada, administered by Canada and the Crown? I lose. There's no lawyer in Canada sworn to the Crown who can even defend me. I can never get my promised human rights back. I can't. I'm forever in that position since 2007. That's what I got from my wildcat strike. Violence. That's what you get. No one was hurt physically, but I removed said rights. I brought a ministry to its knees. I struck the Crown, so to speak, in the face. And I paid for that. And I will pay for that as long as I remain a Canadian citizen for the rest of my working life. This convoy and those blocking roads, I know that the way the government works and what's going to change federally and for federal employees is the right to protest may ultimately be gone forever as trucks block roads, accesses, all of it like I did absolutely in 2007. I led that, I wear that badge. That is with me for the rest of my life. You will find legislation will come through, and if it does, eventually you're going to lose the rights to protest too, which means like Doug Ford and the rest of them across the rest of the provinces, they will all fall like dominoes. And so you all know the birth of this PPC convoy, this WIPA group, this Maverick party, and those insiders, those of which who organized it. It's because of the loss by one Jason Kenney who enacted it first in all of Canada. All of Canada. Trudeau hasn't even enacted this yet. Doug Ford certainly hasn't. But this convoy promises to, and it's frustrated Albertans who've led the charge on this, who aren't allowed to protest in the province of Alberta. Read John Carpe, that's reality. I've cried out, and you will find in precedent, I'm the one who's the last to do a strike, a violent protest. And it wasn't physical violent. There's all kinds of violent where you don't allow others to have their rights and freedoms. I did that, and there is a life sentence on me for doing that. And I am not allowed to work in all industries. I'm not free in Canada. To be truly free, I have to leave to the United States. And then once again, I'm allowed to work in any industry I want, and my name doesn't come with a life sentence attached to it. It's true. Now I'm going to answer 3 questions put forward in today. Those of the anti-vax movement, they ask, how is our convoy making Justin Trudeau stronger? Well, that's very easy. It's been usurped, hijacked. He's getting the majority to look negatively at you. Whether he planted them himself or whether it's just anarchists, was going after Terry Fox Memorial. Big mistake number 1. The establishment, the crown, left or right, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of you are seeing it now. It seemingly isn't left and right anymore. Terry Fox is a big one. That's going to make the masses not like you. All cancer people are now deadly against you. It's a slap in the face. Even though you didn't do it, I'm sure you didn't do it. But that's not how it will be painted in media. The War Memorial desecration, they're already planning to try and get that narrative against you. Win the military, win the police, which is at the Crown's disposal. And they will enact through legislation. It will lead to the removal of said rights. It will also bring the pro-choice camp against pro-choice in abortion. It will change those laws. It will allow the rich to harvest what they need, and strengthening pharmacy to the likes of which has never been allowed, at least in Canada for sure. Should you win your protest, you don't realize that, but that's coming forward. I know John Carpe is already looking at the negative effects here. He wasn't looking at Boston U, but I'm sure my friend John Carpe has looked at it. I'm sure Marilyn Burns is going to look at it and go, ooh, we didn't really look at that. We didn't really look at that, not at the legal side of it. We didn't. And with Canada's Crown, they most certainly can use your movement to enact abortion law. On the pro-choice side, absolute medical freedom, why not? That's what the convoy pushes forward. Hey, why can't rich people have access to all poor Canadian women who will line up in groves for big fat paychecks from organizations that want to harvest unborn brain matter from babies at a specific stage of development, late stage abortion, to absolutely get those stem cells to prolong old men and women's lives. Now, the average Joe Jane, third-class citizen, will never be able to afford some kind of super serum like that will regrow brain tissue specifically for things like Alzheimer's. There's even the ability to grow organs, your own organs, by harvesting those kind of cells in late stage abortion. Vast cost, vast amount of abortions to do that. But a cost like that, do you think billionaires care? Do you think that a future, let's just say, where a 100-year-old man is running down the beach like a 35-year-old man because he's got a brand new heart, he thinks clearly and decisively because he's regrowing those brain cells, they've unlocked that in serum, harvested from thousands of unborn babies of the poor class, desperate ladies, possibly single. But when that kind of money comes along and they have no prospects ahead of them, they can go back to school, have a place to live while they go back to school. Canadians don't look at the repercussions of freedom of choice and absolute medical freedom. Without any accountability and responsibility, this is where you go with the Crown. This is what's made available. Should this protest and this convoy go forward? Should Justin Trudeau go with it? Who do you think really benefits? Well, Justin Trudeau does. Absolute pharmacy and organizations in that narrative would absolutely love that kind of research, that kind of legal right. If you think this is fiction, I implore all of you, go to Boston University, the Absolute Female Reproductive Rights Seminar, an annual seminar, fighting for over nearly 60 years, but 49 years with Roe versus Wade. A constant battle. You can call it good versus evil. Theologies there, all of those step forward. Women have never had medical freedom when it comes to abortion. In fact, no female justice has ever been made available to chime in on Roe versus Wade. Not in anything under an extreme minority. That's just in USA. It's always been men. Men decide. Women have no right. And there is no medical freedom. You can ask any woman who's participated in an abortion. You must go to your doctor several times. And as stated by other females brave enough to chime forward, you must lie to your doctor to get an abortion. You must lie. The Crown expects you to lie. To lie. What kind of moron, evil system expects citizens to lie? Well, who lies the most? Your Crown politicians. It is all a lie. They're legally allowed to lie to you. I'm not of the Crown. I'm not sworn to the Crown. I never lie to Canadians and First Peoples. I never lie to you. I have no reason to do that. It's why I'm highly unpopular. It's why I always go up and I go down. People in Canada, our institution tells us, tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies, and turn around and betray me every time. That is in essence the soul of Canada. A pathetic joke. There is no extreme higher learning. There is none, which goes into another question asked. Quality of life. Hey everybody, Canada's ranked #1 in quality of life. Those who followed me for many years, going right back into Alberta independence, I have gone over quality of life versus standard of living versus many markers encompassing economics and social concepts and policy development. And this is for those who bring that forward. It's been brought forward to me millions of times. Who sets the bar for quality of life? Who does? USA, hey, USA Today. Quality of life, #1 for Canadians. Canada. Well, what is quality of life? Is it the fact that I spend 2 hours a day driving to work and another 2 hours back? Is that quality of life? Having a public transportation system that allows me to pursue my career, what I want to do, within a 15-kilometer radius I have to live there. I have to live in a high-rise. I'm not allowed to think in rural terms. That's just crazy talk. The majority, the moral majority, decides my quality of life. A woman doesn't raise the children at home. Is that a measure of quality of life? The woman and the man work and the government raises the children. Is that quality of life? Is education that's defined and written and absolutely spit forward by the ministry, and all teachers must teach that, is that good quality of life? Is that a good quality of life that all Canadians have access to education, but it's done that way? It's not done against any world standard or any concept of anything higher, because anything higher, we get into high university standards, high education that all Canadians should be put through. No, we don't do that. Don't go too high, because outside of that quality of life, you might learn some fundamental truths that dispel your measurements of quality of life. No, we want to keep them dumbed down. A good life is what the government tells you it is. A good quality of life is what government institutions say it is. I don't subscribe to USA Today. I don't subscribe to those markers. Many economists, theologians in the higher learning, the best experts in the world, historians will tell you those markers are incorrect. Just like the way Canada and some political parties in the USA, some political parties who have power today, who will break the Constitution federally if allowed. Media loves those markers because they're wealthy citizens who enjoy those markers and hold resounding wealth out of the majority in tight, dense cities. Their biggest bread and butter. Of course they're going to propagate their markers. But what does the Institute in the United States of America, legal institute with the ministry alive and well today, what do they say the markers are? Well, they don't. They don't say any of those things. Politicians say those things. Media says those things. And sometimes ministries, corrupted, promote those things and push it forward in education. It is your civic responsibility and due diligence. But in Canada, civic responsibility would lead you to the crown and make you puke, get very angry, and lead you to strike the government in violence if you knew what your civic responsibilities really were here in Canada, as they're really defined in Crown customary law, the unwritten law, that while you're all in that protest at that convoy, if you knew the truth, you'd be hammering on the Privy Council right there in Parliament Hill. It's open, by the way. That's where you find your Crown customary law. There's also a library outside of Parliamentary Hill. You can go find it. I found it for all of you. I have the name, but I'm not going to get involved with the convoy. If you're smart enough to look for it, you'll find the Parliamentary Library, where you will find tens and tens of thousands of pages on the unwritten law and all of what your ministries have been doing in secret, that not to be published to you, not to be shared to you, because that isn't good civics. You would lose your marbles if you did. And your protest would turn into a strike. There's one more question in that list, and I feel bad, so I'm trying to remember what it is. I hope somebody, 3 questions there. I need to answer one more. I'm kicking myself. It's tough. You're driving, you're going through so many things. Now my brain is sitting at the end. I'm going, what was that third one? I can't look at the title, ladies and gentlemen. I have to rely on all of you right now, sitting there, to type it out. It's going to pop up on my screen. And I hope whatever range of comments I'm forced to view by Facebook Canada, because I can't see all your comments either There are 3 ranges of comments. I just hope that somebody types it in whatever registered range of comments I'm in, that I can hit the one of 3 questions I haven't targeted. I hit anti-vax, usurpage, and why. I hit the other. I just did that for quality of life. What is the 3rd question? And probably people are chiming it in right now, and I'm sitting here unable to see it. The joys and pains of Facebook Canada. It was nice when all comments just went, but that's not what I get. It could be under relevant, and I can't change it while I'm live. I can only view after. I apologize, everybody. That concludes my video. I don't see anything coming up. Well, maybe. Wait a minute. No. Dirty Facebook. They never let you see it. Thanks, everybody. That's my video. Take care, all. Share, share, share. Lots of pertinent information here. I only educate. Government can say, oh, he's trying to incite violence. Somebody, but I don't know if they're... No. Thanks, all. That's my video. I should write stuff down. I have a strong mind, but often I forget. And driving doesn't help. All right, bye now, everyone.